travelers. Today I want to talk about quarantine. The number one question we are getting from people looking to plan travel is, will I need to quarantine when I get home? And the short answer is, it depends. Right now, there is no nationwide requirement to quarantine. There is no federal requirement to quarantine. However, several states do have quarantine requirements if you leave the state or if you leave the country. Sometimes if you leave the state to visit certain other states or countries, each state sets its own requirements. So it's super important to check with your state. And I have put a link to an article that lists the current regulations in the description. Second, even if your state doesn't require a quarantine, your employer might. My husband right now, his employer says if you leave the country, you have to quarantine for 2 weeks when you get back. So even though our state doesn't have that requirement, his employer does. So the end result is he's not traveling outside the country because we would need that quarantine. So if you are looking to travel anywhere, make sure you check with both your state and your employer before you plan your trip. Now, keep in mind, regulations and requirements are changing all the time. So I encourage you to check frequently. Even the article I've got listed below is current as of today, October 15th. But by tomorrow, it could be outdated. So always check directly with your state and check with your employer. The good news is that, let's say you plan a trip and you find out that your state enacts a quarantine requirement that wasn't there when you planned the trip, or your employer does that. Well, travel is really flexible right now. Most resorts, most hotels, airlines, everybody is letting you change dates generally without penalty. So you're pretty good even if you end up not being able to take your trip as planned. You can go ahead and reschedule. So before you travel, check with your state, check with your employer, and see if a quarantine order is in effect. Of course, if you have any questions, you should talk to your friendly neighborhood travel agent. That's me. And you can reach me at Christine@moderntravelpros.com, or feel free to call me at 804-453-8747. Thanks a lot. Talk to you real soon. Happy travels.